What is going on, Alabama football fans? The Crimson Tide put the absolute beat down on the Mercer Bears today. And look, they are who we thought they were. They're not a very good team. Look, actually, I take that back. They are actually a pretty decent team, but you went out there and you did to them what you absolutely should have done to them. You clobbered them 52-7. You cover that 41.5-point spread because good teams win, but great teams cover the spread, and absolutely Alabama did that today. So we're going to break down all of my takeaways from today's game. And look, they're not the same takeaways that you would normally think from a game, but, it's a little bit lesser competition, so they're going to be a little bit different here today. But make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. We've got free news and rumors for you all week long, usually 6-7 videos every single week. We're live for every single Alabama football game. Whether that's coming up here next week against Oklahoma or the week after that for the Iron Bowl. We'll be giving away a Jalen Milroe jersey for that. So make sure you guys hit that sub button and come hang out with us for our Alabama football watch parties. All right, let's get into some takeaways here for Alabama versus Mercer. Look, you won the turnover battle, and that's the first thing that you want to do in every single game. The first turnover came on that first drive. Damani Jackson actually came off that left side on a cornerback stunt and caused a fumble, punch it out, and I believe that was Damon Payne who recovered it. And then a couple of drives later, you had that interception from Qua Russaw, which, Deontay Lawson caused some pressure on the quarterback on that play. And Qua Russaw just made a nice one-handed grab on that. So very, very nice. Second interception for him on the season this year. And then you also had that fumble, Zabien Brown, scoop and score on that. Couple of penalties on that play, but both of those on Mercer. So, look, the first thing for every single game, you want to win the turnover battle. Alabama was able to do that today. 3 more turnovers on the season. You came into this game with 21 total turnovers. That's absolutely incredible. And then you did it again today, making it, 24 turnovers on the season for this defense. They've been playing great really the second half of this season. I just hope they continue to do that and continue to build on that as the last couple of games. And, whether Alabama makes it to the SEC championship and the college football playoffs, we'll see. There's still a lot to be done, but hopefully they can continue to carry that through the next couple of games here. So let me know right now at the pinned comment of today's video, do you guys want Alabama to make the SEC championship game? Like I said, there's still things in the SEC that need to play out. Georgia has to beat Tennessee tonight, and then you got some different things for tiebreakers that need to go on as well. But Georgia beating Tennessee is the first domino, really, that needs to fall for Alabama to make it into the SEC championship game. But there's some pros and there's some cons. If you make the SEC championship game, you win it, you get a first-round bye. But if you lose it, that's another game where you could possibly have some injuries. Well, that's just in general, I guess, where it's another game where you have some injuries. But if you lose it, you're probably out of the college football playoffs. So, definitely some positives, but also definitely some negatives to making the SEC championship game. I think right now, it depends what happens next week between Texas and Texas A&M. But those are possibly the two teams that you could match up with in the SEC championship game. I also do think Alabama can win those games, but it is yet to be seen whether or not Alabama will even make the SEC championship game. So let me know in the comments right now at the pinned comment, do you guys even want Alabama to make the SEC championship game? Type Y for yes or in for no for me right now. Takeaway number 2 here. Look, Jalen Milroe didn't have an insane game today, but I thought he was good enough for you. Only threw the ball 13 times in this game, and let's be honest, 16 times in this game, but I think that's all really about the average that Jalen Milroe needs to throw the ball in any game that Alabama plays. Look, his best attribute is using his legs, and they also did that again today. He had 2 more, touchdowns throwing the ball today as well. One to Robbie Ouzts, which, great for Robbie Ouzts, man. Love to see that happen. I think the other one went to Ryan Williams as well. But look, Jalen Milroe also had another rushing touchdown today. That's 3 more touchdowns for him on the season. And look, he was good enough, to be able to win the game. I didn't think he needed to go out here and go absolutely crazy in this ball game for Alabama to win. Obviously, they played 4 quarterbacks in this game, which we'll talk about, later in our takeaways. But look, Jalen Milroe, he's had some ups and downs this year. He did, if we want to be nitpicky, he did just barely overthrow that deep ball to Caleb Odom, which Caleb Odom had to lay out for it. He caught it, hit the ground, and dropped it. You want to see that catch be made, but it was a little bit overthrown. And there was another one also thrown, that second opportunity to Robbie Ouzts, up the seam to be able to get him a second touchdown today. Also overthrew that one. But overall, I thought Jalen Milroe had a pretty decent day for Alabama. And against Mercer, that's really all you need to happen. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor today. That is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. And with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in over 30 different states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. It's one of my favorite things about Prize Picks. Your lineup stays in play even if one of your players goes out in the first half. If they do not return in the second half, your lineup is still live with Prize Picks. One of my other favorite things about Prize Picks is the flex play. This is our lineup for our pro football games this weekend. We got Cowboys versus the Houston Texans. We got Cooper Rush having less than on passing yards. Look, Cowboys just aren't very good. Dak Prescott's going to be out the rest of the season. So we're going to go with a less than on Cooper Rush passing yards. I also think the Cowboys can't really stop the run to save the life. So we're going to go with a more than on Joe Mixon rushing yards there. And then Rico Dowdle, maybe the way to get the offense going for the Cowboys this weekend is for them to get some easy passes for Cooper Rush. Maybe that's some screen action to Rico Dowdle. So we're going to go with a more than on receiving yards. You can play our lineup or you can play your own. And do not forget, you can do the flex play or the power play. You can get the flex, or you can choose the flex play. You get a bit less of a payout, but you can still lose one and still come out on top. So sign up today and get $50 instantly. When you play $5, you do not even have to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is just guaranteed. So download Prize Picks today and use promo code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. Prize Picks, run your game. Takeaway number 3 here for Alabama versus Mercer. Look, you got some really good depth, man, both on the offensive side of the ball and on the defensive side of the ball. Whether that's at quarterback or at any other position, I think your running backs look really good. I think Jam Miller, just another game, not Jam Miller. Richard Young was able to get out there and also get some, pretty solid runs during that third quarter. And how about Ty Simpson, man? He had that pass to Josh Cuevas late in that game where he was under pressure and really he was wrapped up by the Mercer defensive lineman, was able to scramble out of that, make a play out of that, throw it down deep to Josh Cuevas down at the 1-yard line, I believe it was. And then you had another, I think it was like 3rd and 11, where he had to scramble out to the right side and get the first down there. So, man, I tell you what, the future is nice here for Alabama. You also had Richard Young. I'll just bring up his stats here for just a second on the fly here. He had 7 carries for 26 yards and a touchdown, but, man, he does run the ball really hard. You also had, Ty Simpson in the game. You had Austin Mack in the game. Dylan Lonergan also got in the game for Alabama. And how about Austin Mack? That throw to Rico Scott was just absolutely insane. Rico Scott also, on the flip side of it, also just a really insane catch there. Left-handed, one-hand grab. I thought those backups played really, really well for you. On the defensive side of the ball, you got guys like Justin Okoronkwo out there that are playing really well. So, look, the future is bright for Alabama. They got a lot of really good players backing up the starters right now, and I cannot wait. Look, I obviously don't want guys to, leave the program, but that's just the way it is. That's how football works. You only got so many years of eligibility. I really, really love the way Alabama's backups played today when they had to. Now, obviously, it's Mercer. They might have also even been playing their backups when Alabama's backups went in there. And if I got a nitpick, though, your offensive line, your second-string offensive line did not play that great, but that is nitpicky, and they are second-string offensive linemen for a reason, after all. So, they got time to work on things, and, it takes a couple of years for those offensive linemen to really, progress in their development and everything like that. But overall, man, the second-stringers and third-stringers played really, really good for you today. So who gets the game ball for Alabama? I think you got a lot of different options here. Yeah, you could say the defense just in general if you want to, because I thought they played really, really good today. Let me know in the comments section right now. Takeaway number 4 goes right off that depth pieces, man. You actually played walk-ons at the end of today's game. I just want to give a shout-out to a couple guys that I saw personally at the end of the game. R.J. Gardner, Michael Lorino III, 2 of those guys on offense that I saw anyways. Let me see just real quick if there's any defensive guys. Don't see any defensive guys that are walk-ons that played in this game, but man, you go out there and you play a game where, look, it's a blowout. It's against Mercer, but look, they're a good ball team. They were 9-1 coming into this game. They had held 6 out of their 10 teams that they played this year to 10 or less points. So, look, they got a pretty good team. They got like 7 guys with 5 tackles for losses on their defense. So, at the end of the day, they're not a bad team, but you went out there and you did what you were supposed to do against a team like this. And also, want to give a shout out to Keon Keeley getting in his second game of the season. Got to play last week, or second game in a row, I should say anyways. Got in that game last week against LSU. And he's, a former 5-star guy that we've been talking about a little bit anyways. Hasn't been able to get those opportunities at that bandit position, but I do think next year you got Jamarian Latham. He's going to go off to the NFL, whether or not he gets drafted or not. He's out of eligibility. But then I do also think LT Overton has a chance to go to the NFL as well. So, look, man, Keon Keeley is the next guy up there at that bandit spot. You got some guys coming in from the JUCO ranks as well to fill in some of those depth pieces. But, man, if you can play walk-ons, it was an absolutely good day. Takeaway number 5 here, man. You are still improving. Everything is still in front of this team right now. You didn't have that letdown game that we talked about. After that big win against Georgia, you go to Vanderbilt, lose that game. You got a big win versus LSU last week on the road. You come into this game, you handle your business, and there really wasn't anything. You could nitpick some things, but there wasn't anything big. Let's see. Let me pull up the penalty stats here for a second, because there were a couple of penalties. 6 penalties for 60 yards. You had a couple penalties on the first drive of the game for Mercer on Alabama's defense that kind of extended the drive, but then you had Damani Jackson come in and punch the ball out, so no harm, no foul there. I think you also had a holding call on Caden Proctor, and a couple other things as well. But look, man, overall, this team is still improving. The defense, 3 more turnovers today. You got Oklahoma next week. You got Auburn after that. You take care of business there. You got a chance to make the SEC championship game. Some other things need to play out. Georgia needs to beat Tennessee tonight. And as weird as it sounds, if Arkansas beats Missouri in the last week of the season, that makes it go down to tiebreaker number 4. And as long as LSU wins out, they would actually jump up to make the SEC championship game in front of you. So some weird things can definitely still happen. But for right now, if Alabama wins out, whether or not they make the SEC championship game or not, they're absolutely into the college football playoffs. And that, at the end of the day, is the only thing that I want for this team.